Hello, friends. Long time no talk. Well, actually, it's only been about a month. Um, my name is Julia. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm known as Julicious on FlossTube and Instagram. I am the designer behind the new small business Knitney Knits and Needlework. And welcome to my little corner of FlossTube. I feel very out of practice and kind of rusty. You may be asking, Julia, why is there a symbol for a fallout shelter on the whiteboard behind you? Well, number one, that was there because I was trying to see if I could chart it in cross stitch, and then I realized that I don't actually want the fallout symbol, like the shelter symbol. And secondly, I was not anticipating filming in my office today. The day just kind of got away with me. It is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. Thank you to those of you who continue to come and spend time with me. And thank you to new subscribers. I noticed a small uptick in people who decided to come and give us a shot. So welcome. Thank you. It's a very much, this is a very much come as you are space. So Happy New Year. A little bit of a rocky start, not necessarily in a bad way, just in kind of a new normal kind of way. I started working on my bachelor's degree in nursing. So when I was in nursing school a few years ago, I got an associate's degree. And I am now continuing education and continuing my education to get a bachelor's degree, which I am doing online with Capella University. And it's a lot of busy work. It's a little more work than I was expecting, but then again, it's not too bad. I've been dedicating about 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And so far so good, except for today, because another thing that happened recently is I live with pretty significant mental illnesses. Generalized anxiety disorder and panic disorder, and some clinical depression. Last year, late in the summer, I had a pretty significant mental health crisis, and so there's a lot of healing going on. And along with that, on Monday, today's Wednesday, on Monday I had an appointment with my psychiatrist, and we had been discussing for a while doing a little bit of medication changes, and we ended up doing that. And the side effects of this new medication that I've been on for just about 24 hours, one of the side effects is like brain fog and a little bit of dizziness. And the brain fog is real. I was hoping to film this earlier today where I could do it in my living room where I have been filming, but that wasn't happening. And I'm starting to feel normal, and in about 40 minutes, I have to take that medicine again because that's a twice a day thing. So hopefully this side effect is temporary. And if it's not, we try something new. I said it's very come as you are place. It absolutely is. But also, I mean, I talk about these things because if you are not doing well, if you are having a hard time, I've been there, and there's a way through. And I kind of like to just reassure folks of that. So yeah, that's what's been going on. But other than that, I mean, it's been kind of an unseasonably warm January here in southeastern Pennsylvania. We had about a week and a half there where it was way below freezing, and we got some snow and some ice, and that has all since melted. So we'll see. That's how climate change is affecting my area of the planet. I just completed a 30-day yoga journey. For those of you who are fans of yoga, here on YouTube, Yoga with Adrienne, every January she does a 30-day journey, like about 20 to 25 minutes of yoga every day from January 2nd to the 31st. And so I did that, and I'm feeling pretty good about it, but also today was the last day, was kind of anticlimactic, because it's kind of like, okay, well, now it's on to the next thing. That was a good experience, but now what's my daily movement going to look like moving forward? That's kind of what's going on. Cross stitch and knitwear design is a little slow right now. I had planned to release a new hat pattern in February. I may still, but I hit a pretty big snag in that my gauge swatch lied to me, and that hurts. You know, when your gauge swatch lies to you. I think it's salvageable. I need to maybe change that, because the thing is, I really like the fabric, the knit fabric that the yarn and this size needle makes. So I think I need to maybe make it shorter and then do some math to kind of make an additional smaller size. But that's kind of neither here nor there. But that's why there hasn't been much knitting from me. That, and I'm in school. I say a lot when I get anxious, which is often. I do have a little gift for folks who, it's cross stitch, not knitting. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I am not a big greeting card holiday person, like, at all, but trying to like venture into the whole like small business thing, sometimes you kind of have to pander to the masses. And anyway, so I have a free design on my Ko-fi, which you can go download. I mean, it's been up for about a week and a half. I just finished the model today. It is not perfect, but it's cute and it's for me. This is my cat Elijah. This is called Elijah's Valentine. That's my cat Elijah with a little Valentine heart that says, "You suck least." I tried to make the heart big enough where if perhaps this sentiment does not speak to you, if snark isn't your thing, if you want something a little traditionally sweet and lovey, there is plenty of room for you to kind of put your own message there. And honestly, if you just Google free backstitch alphabet, you'll find this and you'll be all set. This is all in DMC. He is 50 by 50. I stitched him on a 28 count Lugana from Zweigart, and I'm gonna probably turn him into an ornament. He is all cross stitches, except for there's long stitches for his whiskers, and his mouth is backstitched, and the alphabet is backstitched. So pretty cute. Not my best work, but pretty cute. What do you want for free? related to the Ko-fi, and just Knitney Knits and needlework in general, I now have a business Instagram account called Knitney Knits, and that is where, if you want knit and cross stitch design updates, that's where you'll find them. My Ko-fi shop is linked from there, but it's also still linked. Excuse me, it's still linked from my personal Instagram at Julicious. Oh, excuse me. Something else that is a strong maybe, still kind of working out a few things. Let me see if I can, yeah, I have them. So for the Pine Barrens cowl and hat, if you live in the Philadelphia area and would be interested in taking a class with me for the Pine Barrens cowl, which comes in 2 sizes, watch this space, watch the shop Instagram, because there is a strong possibility that one of my local yarn shops will be hosting that class with me, which is pretty exciting. It's a little terrifying, but it's also pretty exciting. But again, nothing is set in stone yet. And if that ends up falling through, if there's enough interest from y'all, I might see if I can do maybe an online class talking about just to get y'all started knitting the cowl, especially if you're a newer knitter. I think that would be fun. I'd have to figure out which platform we would use, but that is definitely in the future. But it's pretty fun. And also in June, I am in the process of applying for a booth at my township's Pride Festival. So yeah, watch this space. Let's talk about actual stitching. So my New Year, New Start was Pierrot. Where is Pierrot? There we go. For Hanukkah, my partner Josh got me Pierrot by Stacy Nash Primitives. He's one of her Animal Crackers series, and I need to get back to this because, oh my gosh, I need to make him and sew him like this and stuff him, and he can live on my mantelpiece and just be my little guy. Josh got me this and all of the threads. I am using a 36 count linen from XJU Designs. I believe the colorway is Gold Sand. I am stitching this 1/2 full cross, and this is where I got to. So his head's done, his little bow tie. I don't think you can see because the lighting in here isn't great, but I got the outline of the front of his little belly there too. So need to get back to him, but I got very distracted. Last year I had one new start, my New Year New Start that I did with Christine of Calico Whimsy, but then I had no new starts for the rest of the year except for my own designs. And so I've got a little bit of, I'm being a little bit of a magpie right now in terms of new starts. Like shortly after I started Pierrot, I immediately got distracted. Where did they go? Oh no. Oh, they're over here. I immediately got distracted by this little chart that was a gift from, so this chart that I'm about to show you was a gift from Michelle Bendy. Last year, there was a fundraiser for the Lavender Clinic in Hawaii, which was the only place where trans folks can get gender affirming care in Hawaii, and it was in danger of closing. So there was a fundraiser for it, and then Michelle, we had a Zoom, and we all like exchanged little gifts, and then Michelle gave us, mailed us this chart that she had made. So it's not something, the chart is not something we can share, but I do believe that the image, just with different colors, is going to be part of a sampler releasing within the next year or two, I think. But anyway, it's called Disrupt the System. It's a little Quaker, and I love it. It's stitched with a DMC étoile in 310, and the variegated purple is an almond M&M's silk in Night Orchid, I think. I just love this. And it only took me like literally, it was two days of stitching. Not full days of getting up and stitching and going to sleep, but like it was two stitching sessions. I got this done. Love it. This is on, I don't love the fabric. This is 28 count Murano. I think whatever they sell at Michael's. 2/2. You'll be seeing this fabric again shortly. And after that, I got distracted again, and this was literally one day of stitching. No, it was 2 evenings of stitching. I had never, this is my first Quirky Quaker ever, guys. I know. That's just the way it's been. This is, I think, the very first one. This is a little ornament cut of 32 count Jobelin in Spellbound by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I used a Jodery Designs cotton called Rack and Ruin. So that's the puffin. What else do I have? I have the fox, I have the hedgehog, and then I have the cryptid pack with the Yeti / Sasquatch, the Nessie, and the unicorn. So, but I'm really pleased with how this little fella turned out. So yeah, my first ever Quirky Quaker. So those two plus Elijah makes three finishes for the year so far. Not too shabby, right? What else? I am hosting the second most magnificent Ink Circles Round Robin, also known as the Middle Earth Ink Circles Round Robin. And if you're not familiar with that, it is the brainchild of Michelle Bendy. How we all, well, many of us love ink circles mandalas, but it can be a little bit tedious stitching the same image 4 times on the same piece. And so Michelle thought, well, what if you have 3 friends, so 4 people, and you stitch 1/4 of a mandala and then send it to a friend a friend sends you their mandala that has 1/4 stitched, and you stitch a 2/4, and so on, so that there are 4 mandalas everyone's working on, but you're only stitching 1/4 of it, and at the end everyone gets their original design back completed. I am in the Old Forest Fellowship, the Fellowship of the Withy Windle, which is the, if you're not a complete Lord of the Rings lore geek, like some people, the river Withy Windle flows by Tom Bombadil's cottage in the Old Forest. I am stitching Hamsa Mandala. This was my choice this year. And I opted to change the colors a little bit, although I am using 2, like the black. Well, the black I changed to Anchor Black because I'm Julia and I do that. And then for inside each Hamsa, I chose a variegated Jodari Designs floss. I have to burp again, excuse me. I'm just gonna, I have two skeins of it, and I'm not gonna need 2 skeins of it, but this is Elven Wood. And I love it. So it's got a green and like a winey, like a muted winey red, and this orange. And I'm stitching this on a 40 count. This is a 40 count linen from Color and Cotton. Wet. I don't have the tag. That's weird. It's written down somewhere. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing is ruined. And this is how it's turning out so far. It's not as dark. The inside is not as dark as it's showing up here. But I'm very pleased, and I cannot wait to finish my quarter and send it out and see what all my other friends are working on. So this doesn't need to be mailed out until the end of March, so you will see the completed quarter before I put it in the mail. Okay. Also, there's Whip Go to think about. And Whip Go for me this year is very no pressure. It's very do what you can, do not stress. This is supposed to be fun kind of deal for me. So the first two, the 2 numbers, I don't remember what numbers they were. The 2 patterns, whips of mine that were called in January were Beggar's Night by Threadwork Primitives and Going to Market, which is an out-of-print dimensions kit that I snagged on eBay a couple years ago. So I'm stitching Beggar's Night on 56 count linen, and it's little. It is so little. So I just brought down that part of the border. I was hoping to finish the border and maybe bring it across the bottom, but that just was not in the cards. This is on my Whip Go board again, but the prompt on that one is to start working on the raven. Maybe it's a crow. I don't know. It's a corvid. So the next time I work on this year, I will be stitching the little raven. But some progress is better than no progress. I love my magnifier. I am going to be 42 in June, and my eyes are feeling it. Oh, the magnifier is my friend. And then with going to market, I had tentatively wanted to put like 1,000 stitches in. This is going to come up on the board again too. There was nothing really, like I didn't have specific goals like I have with some of them in terms of like what portion of the chart I stitch when. This was just see if you can get 1,000 stitches in. I think I got closer to 600, but I'm very happy with it. This is the kit fabric. It is a 14 count light blue Aida using the kit floss, which I think is DMC. So the last time you saw this, which was just in my whip parade, I was working on this blue fabric. Or maybe I'd finished it and started working on this orange and red one. I don't remember. But I finished all the fabric except for the back stitching. I worked on her headscarf and her beautiful face. Kind of the outline of her armpit right here, and then her arm and hand here holding the bundles of fabric on her head. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So WhipGo she'll come out again at least one more time. Oh, who prompted me to stitch this? Both Steph of Lindy Stitches years and years ago worked on this, and also Michelle Bendy worked on this, and I fell in love with it. I know there's a companion piece that I have not been able to find. It's a bit more yellows and oranges. It's very citrusy looking. I don't think there's any citrus on it, but just the color, like the palette reminds one of citrus. Let's see. Plans, which also includes a new start. Two new starts actually. So I'm going to participate in Full Coverage February, which is being hosted by Colette the Highway Stitcher, and which is really just, I mean, I think you can do whatever you want. I only have 3 full coverage designs that I'm working on right now, so I'm not going to use the confetti acrostic that I think Colette and Sarah of Stitchin' Mommy and a few other folks are using, because they have more full coverage whips than I do. I have, so the first one is my big Mamba Jamba. It's got all the papers on it. This is the Gamer, also known as Gamer Nouveau. Artwork is by Medusa Dollmaker. This particular pattern was charted by Gecko Rouge. I believe that this pattern is now only available through Medusa Dollmaker's Etsy. And I'm all for just giving money directly to artists anyway, so no problem there. I don't know that it comes in a kit though. So this kit is a 25 count Lugana magic guide, not easy guide. And last year I finished the top row, and this year I started the new row, and I did a little of that, and I realized that I was very close to this little piranha plant. So I counted down, and there was a miscount somewhere. I've got a frog most of this black, which is fine, right? It's no big deal. It was just really demoralizing. So that's going to be the first order of business when I pull this out. But I still do want to work on that little piranha plant just because it looks really fun. So that is one thing that will be worked on in February for full coverage February. The next thing that will be worked on for full coverage February will be my QS Quick Stitch Iris that is being stitched on 28 count Lugana in Easy Guide. I much prefer the Easy Guide. My goal this year on this pattern is to get this page finished. No pressure, but it would be nice. So that's where that is. And then there's the full coverage chart that I started a couple of weeks ago. And I don't like blaming other stitchers, but I was definitely enabled by a couple of stitchers who I don't think know me. One of them is Jemima the Rocking Stitcher, who hasn't actually been on in a while. Just life, family, all of that. But she's working on this, and so is Darren, Dizzy Stitcher down in Australia. This is Mini Deer Creek. And I'm going to try to put a image of it right here so you can see it. I love deer. I have lived in Pennsylvania my entire life. They're just a part of the ecology around here, and they get a bad rap because humans killed off all of their natural predators, i.e. the wolves, and now deer are overpopulated and considered a pest animal, honestly through no fault of their own, but humans being what they are. In my neighborhood, we have several families of deer that like to come visit. I have a salt lick for them in my backyard right now. I love them so much. I watched Bambi at a very young age, and that kind of stuck. Was never a big Disney kid except for Bambi and Robin Hood. Pinocchio terrified me. Dumbo terrified me. It's the circus guys, right? Just, oh gosh, why did they let children watch that? Anyway, so this is on that 28 count Monaco, I think, that I purchased from Michael's. And I had to use a metallic sulky thread to grid it, and that was painful. But I did it. And so I am stitching this 2/1 tent stitch on 28 count Monaco. It's the even weave from Michael's. And I'm doing it extreme cross country, starting with the black. And yeah, you can see the threads carried on the back. I'm going to see if I can. That's a little bit better. So what's cool is that's a deer nose, and that's a deer nose, And that's a deer ear and a little deer back. That's cool, right? So yeah, I'd like to give that a lot of love in February as well. However, in February, we also have the Lunar New Year, and it's the year of the dragon, and I can't stand it anymore. I've had this in my stash since market last year. I have to start Tea Time Companion by Brittany of Ingleside Imaginarium. It's not that big. It's not that big. It's fine. And I have the Treenway Silks, and this is a limited edition linen from Color and Cotton from their very first Halloween box. And yeah, it's not that big. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But look at that. He was my favorite. So that might only get a day or two to start. And then Whipco, the numbers have been drawn. I can't remember what got pulled. I know one of them is, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Pumpkins 3 was pulled, and I'm going to be working on the border. And then Bird Crush Club was pulled, and I pulled the number that got called told me that I am starting a new bird in that row that I'm working on, which I think is a goldfinch. We'll find out together, right? So kind of a lot going on for February, and it's a short month, but what gets done, and what doesn't, it's okay. So that's my update so far, guys. I've been reading. I read a lot. I've been reading a lot. If you like crime, kind of dark crime, I highly recommend the novel by S.A. Cosby called All the Sinners Bleed. Trigger warning for child abuse, child sexual abuse, and a serial killer. But if you like serial killer stories, I highly recommend it. The main character is, it's set in Southeast Virginia in the United States, and the main character is the first Black man to be elected sheriff of his county. It's set in 2017, and there's a backdrop of racist white dudes being really feeling really attacked, that there are calls for Confederate monuments to be taken down. It's good stuff. I really loved it. So if you like that sort of thing, I would recommend it. It was at my library. It might be at yours too. My daughter and I have been reading together over the past couple of years the Heartstopper graphic novel series. I understand that it's a mini series as well, but we just have been reading the graphic novels. And in December, the 5th volume came out, and she got that for Hanukkah. So after she read it, I read it a couple of weeks ago. Continues to be very fun. Volume 6 is going to be the end of the story, so I'm very curious as to see how everything wraps up. It's definitely got that teenage angst of, oh, we're in high school and our love is the purest love and we're so in love, and oh my gosh, how are we gonna cope with you going off to university, you know? And the 41-year-old knows that first loves in high school are in general not forever, and that moving on is a thing. but the intended audience is people who, like young folks who are very romantic in that way. And I'm not saying that I want all these people to break up. I'm just, with my years of experience, I'm kind of like waiting for those realizations to start happening. And I'm curious as to how the author's going to do that, because she's handled everything in such a compassionate and sensitive way. So we shall see. So that graphic novel series, if you're not aware, is like a bunch of gay kids and just a bunch of queer kids, and in northern England, Midlands England. Where's Kent? It's set in Kent. And it deals with homophobia and transphobia and mental illness, eating disorders, self-harm. So if those are sensitive issues for you, just be aware, but also know that they are handled in a loving way. So as a parent, I approve. As a reader, I approve. As a mentally ill person and queer person, I also approve. So, any other books? I've been reading a lot of about Buddhism, and I'm reading a book about raising chickens right now, because that's a thing I might want to do. But I'm educating myself first, because that's a big decision. So, what have you been reading? I am curious. Okay. I don't know how to end things, end videos. I'm very bad at that. So I will see you. I would like to try to check in every 2 weeks. Realistically, I don't know if that's going to happen. So if I see you in 2 weeks, wonderful. And if I don't see you until the end of the month, I hope you have a good February. Take good care, friends. I'll catch you around the internet.